Maya, the power that veils and obscures the true nature of the self and creates a sense of differentiation. It makes the universal consciousness, which is one, appear as duality in multiplicity. Greetings, everyone. So much love. Welcome to the Ascending Maya podcast and activation project. It is our mission to aid and assist all humanity from their sleeping slumber. Through the power of intention and the spoken word, we hope to enlighten, awaken, and reconnect humanity with their higher selves, to massage minds, allowing new possibilities, and be directly involved with co-creating a future that serves all humanity in love and light, to eradicate fear from the human body, to activate the ascension frequencies and vibrations of love, and do our part in the ushering in of this lifetime's paradigm shift. The time is now. There is only now. Today's topic: perspective is a wish fulfilled. How powerful is that? I read a book, A Course in Miracles. It was a channeled book. I think I read it all but like the last chapter or two. I'm not quite sure. But and look, if you were to quiz me on it, I wouldn't be very successful with answering those questions, most likely. But I wrote a couple quotes down from the book. This one really hit home. Perspective is a wish fulfilled. I read a book, part of it. I didn't read the whole thing. I think that there's a situation only having limited access to the book. But it explained, the book was called 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And the author, Stephen Covey, I just really appreciated, like I said, I was disappointed I didn't get to read the whole thing. I only got like a couple chapters into it. But he was explaining about how him and his wife had a child, a boy, and they were at like this t-ball practice or a game. They were just really disappointed with what they perceived to be his lack of athletic ability. And he wasn't doing very good. He would be yelled, the father, or Stephen, I think they were referencing this direct parallel in his life. But they were yelling at his son to say, "Oh, you can do better than that. Come on, hit a home run." Blah blah blah, stuff like that. And he also, the child, also wasn't doing very good in school. They felt that he was much smarter than the grades he was bringing home when he was at this young, tender age. So they were kind of disappointed, what they were perceiving. And I forget exactly how his enlightenment came to shift his perspective. He explains it in the book. He goes on to talk about how he started learning about how changing perspective changes outcome. Now, recognize that the child is living their own unique to them experience. This is so important to understand. But when Stephen decided to change his perspective, and his wife, their perspective on what they were viewing with their son, they started, instead of perceiving when they go to these, as years go by, they were practicing this. So instead of seeing some kind of imperfection, they started seeing what the boy was doing good. When he was in sports or in school, they started changing their perspective of what they seen. Now, that doesn't mean that something else isn't happening. It's just their perspective. Perspective is a wish fulfilled. So when they change their perspective, casting it out onto their son, in this case, here's what he quotes. And now, before I get to that quote, I want to emphasize that he also went on to say that the boy, by the time he got to high school, he was like very athletic. I mean, he did I forget exactly what the deal was, but I think they quoted basketball. But he was like in the top of the team, and he was receiving all A's and B's in school. So by shifting their perspective on what they were viewing, it literally changed the world. Here's the quote. We began to realize that if we wanted to change the situation, we first had to change ourselves. And to change ourselves effectively, we first had to change our perceptions. And again, that is so profound. By changing your perspective and only perceiving that which serves. And I've got several notes here that I want to share with you. Okay, so A is the mind shift. Perspective is about how we choose to view a situation. If we can shift our mindset, we can transform challenges into opportunities. The wish here is the desire to see things differently. If we wish to be more positive, we can change our perspective to find silver linings in difficult situations, lessons, and look, aren't we always bombarded by these different lessons? We have to stop that record player in the brain, where it continues to play stuff over and over and over again, unless it serves. Then bask in that. If you wish for greater contentment, by changing your perspective, focus on gratitude, which leads to a sense of fulfillment. B, perception creates reality. The way we perceive the world dictates how we experience it. If our wish is to feel fulfilled, we can align our perspective with the positive aspects of life, seeing abundance and opportunity instead of scarcity. A person who wishes for more happiness might find that simply looking at their own life with a sense of abundance and appreciation, rather than focusing on what's lacking, makes them feel fulfilled. C, manifestation and perspective. This also ties into the law of attraction and manifestation, where perspective shifts allow individuals to attract the things they desire. The wish is the manifestation, and the perspective is the alignment with that goal. A person wishing for success might shift their perspective to see every failure as a stepping stone and every challenge as a learning opportunity, which helps your desires and goals. D, self-reflection and growth. Changing one's perspective on life can lead to fulfillment as we connect more deeply with our true desires and goals. By wishing to understand ourselves better and adapting a perspective of self-compassion and openness to personal development, we can fulfill that wish by embracing new growth. There's so much here. I hope that these words are resonating with you. As we continue, E, changing external circumstances through perspective. Sometimes our wish is to change the world around us. Changing your perspective can give you the ability to see new solutions to old problems. Perspective leads to new actions and inner reactions, ultimately fulfilling your wish. If you are wishing to have a more harmonious relationship with someone, change your perspective on the situation, choosing to approach it with empathy and open communication, which leads to fulfillment of your wish. I remember speaking to someone who's really close to me, and I just remember we were talking about perspective is a wish fulfilled. And, I used the example of if you walk into a grocery store and you see three different people. One individual is a lady with a hat on, who looks nice, dressed and is looks from her perspective, well-to-do. If that is her perspective, then that's her truth. Then to her, she is that. Another example would be as someone, let's just say as an example, they just got off work, but they look kind of dungy and dreary. Maybe they do physical labor, and but the perspective may be that, oh, that's a poor person, and oh, they're probably going to ask me for money. Well, then to her, that is her wish fulfilled. That individual is that. And there was another final example, someone who could be a little chunky, and then the perception could be as well, that person needs to lose some weight. Well, then to her, that is her truth. Now the reality could be completely different. The first example, the lady with the hat, she could have been gifted all of that, and felt she wanted to feel good that day because that was her best attire, and she has been going through a long term of struggles, and dealing with poverty. That could be the truth, but her perspective of how she's seen her all dressed up with the hat on was well-to-do. So two completely different scenarios, one being true, both being true. I apologize. Both being true, because it's the perceiver and then what is being perceived. So, and same with the other two examples. The person who was chunky, they could have been grossly obese and just lost a bunch of weight, and is feeling good and thinking that they are looking good, and etc. However, wish fulfilled is that perception of, well, man, they need to lose some weight. What's that person? Geez, don't they take care of themselves? So again, two different scenarios. There's three total I gave you, but the bottom line is we have to be mindful, of our perspective. What we observe and the perspective we have of that observance is a wish fulfilled. So we have to be mindful. We want to see things that serve us, that make us feel good, so we can amplify that. And so many people get caught up on just like the examples I gave you, just judging other people's. I think the name of the song by Rush is Witch Hunt, but they quote in there, quick to anger, slow to understand. We have to control our emotions. I want to share just a quick 2-minute Buddhist poem, and this kind of falls in line with perspective. Here is my remembrance of the poem. If I'm not quoting it exactly, I apologize, but this is my remembrance and my version, I guess. I don't know. This Buddhist monk, he's a farmer. He's not a monk, but he's a Buddhist farmer. And he wakes up one morning. He's making him a cup of coffee, a pot of coffee. He pours himself a cup, and he takes a drink. And as he goes to set the cup down, he hears this cha-ching. And he goes outside to see what's going on. And he sees that somehow the gate for the corral had opened, and his one and only horse had ran off into the distance. Well, his neighbor comes running over and says, "Oh, I'm so sorry for your bad fortune. That was your one and only workhorse for your entire farm. Oh, I don't know what you're going to do now. I'm so sorry for your bad fortune." And the Buddhist farmer looks at him right in his eyes and says, "Who knows what is bad and what is good?" And then he finishes out what he needs to do for the day. He just handles the situation as it is. So day 2 of our story, the Buddhist farmer, he wakes up, and of course he makes him a pot of coffee. He starts pours that first cup. As he pours that first cup, he sees ripples in his coffee, and he hears, and he goes outside to see what's going on. As he gazes at the distance, he sees an entire herd of Mustangs running towards his house, his farm. As he looks closer, he sees that his farm horse that had ran off the day earlier is leading the pack. And then he realizes that they're running directly towards the corral. So he runs over, opens the gate, and this massive herd of horses all run right in his corral. So many horses that he could barely close the gate. His neighbor, seeing what had happened, and comes running over and says, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. You hit the jackpot. You are rich now. Look at all these horses. Oh, yay!" And the Buddhist farmer looks at him right in his eyes and says, "Who knows what is good and what is bad?" And then he goes about his day, just handling the situation as it is. Day 3 of our story. The Buddhist farmer, of course, is making him a pot of coffee. He goes to take a drink, and then he hears, ah! And he goes outside to see what's going on, and sees that his son, his one and only son, was trying to break one of the Mustangs in and got bucked off and broke his leg. The neighbor, of course, comes running over and says, "I am so sorry for your bad fortune. He was your only helper to help you with all this farmland. I am so sorry for your bad fortune." And the Buddhist farmer looks at him right in his eye and says, "Well, who knows what is bad and what is good?" Then just continues to finish addressing the situation at hand. And so day 4, in the conclusion of our story, our Buddhist farmer, well, we know what he's doing that morning. He's making him a pot of coffee. He's getting a drink of it. And then he hears this. And he goes outside to see what's going on. And he sees a military infantry that's riding up. And they're drafting people for the war. So we know the son cannot be drafted, surely leading to his imminent death. He cannot be drafted because his leg was broke the day before. So what the Buddhist farmer practiced was equanimity, balanced mind. He did not get caught up in the ebb and flow of emotions. Being sad one day, "Oh no, woe is me, why did this happen?" And being ecstatic the next day, "Oh yeah. Almost like like a bipolar. Look, I apologize for that example, but that is an example that people are familiar with. Being manic, being high and low, that emotion. But think about that in your own life. How many times has something happened and your perception is, "Oh no, what? Oh no." And other times your perception is so, "Yes." Now, that's what we want. We want things that make us feel good, but we can't get caught up in an emotional roller coaster. And I want you to just consider for a minute, the story of Jesus walking on water. I don't know. I wasn't there then in this physical current experience, so I didn't witness that. But does that possibly mean that Jesus ascended over the emotional pulls, the ebb and flow of emotions, that he ascended over that and he was no longer swayed by the emotions and the ebb and flow that are overly exercised in incorrect ways? Jesus practiced equanimity, balanced mind. So when things happen, we just have to accept them. We can't have a perception of that as good or bad, but neutrality. It is what it is. Remember, your perception is a wish fulfilled. In those moments of your perception, if you're perceiving it as bad, then it is to you. But if you perceive it as simply just as it is, in a full acceptance, remember, resistance is hell. Once you let go of resistance, hell ceases to exist. So we have to accept what is before us and not cast judgment. We have to seek out things that make us feel good. It's my dominant intent every day, every moment of every day, to see things and seek things out that which make me feel good. And that could be as simple as leaves being blown by the wind. I went through a time in my life where I looked at that as they were saying hi and I love you, that they were reaching out to me. Flowers could be an inspiration. A coffee cup, whatever that is, see it and perceive it in a manner that serves, but don't get caught up on emotions. Say I am right now, I'm perceiving my coffee cup and I'm grateful for it, that I have a cup to pour coffee in. I'm grateful to have coffee, and then something happens and the cup breaks. I just accept that as it is. I don't get caught up in, oh my God, that was my favorite cup. Because again, it's an internal perception. So we have to be mindful. We have to be mindful. To think is to create. Energy follows thought. Thought is an actual working power. So getting back here, changing external circumstances through perspective. Sometimes our wish is to change the world around us. Changing your perspective can give you the ability to see new solutions to old problems. Perspective leads to new actions and interactions, ultimately fulfilling your wish. If you are wishing to have a more harmonious relationship with someone, change your perspective on the situation. Choosing to approach it with empathy and open communication, which leads to the fulfillment of your wish. I can't emphasize that enough. Be mindful. Your perspective is a wish fulfilled. So be mindful of what you are perceiving. I can't emphasize that enough. And I know that, like with relationships, I was just communicating with somebody the other day, and they were mentioning that they got into a relationship recently with someone. I hadn't seen them in a few weeks, and I said, when I seen him here just the other day, I was just like, hey, how's things going with you and that beautiful woman that you were with? And he says, well, I think we kind of, we had some hiccups, and I think we got all the hard stuff out of the way first. And I remember reading somewhere, and I shared it with him immediately, because what come to mind was, with relationships, lover relationships, someone that you truly care, someone that you care about. A relationship is not 50-50. A relationship is 100-100. When you are offering something or doing something for that person that you are with romantically, don't do it and expect return. Oh, well, I got you this, $300 gift, and you only got me a $10 gift. When you are doing something for that individual that you love and care about, you have to do it with no attachment, no expectation, no ego mind attached to a return. Me, but what did I get? What did you do for me? If you love that person, then see and only recognize the attributes that you were attracted to originally. A big part of this, though, as well, is yourself. You have to love yourself unconditionally. And when you love yourself unconditionally, you are also able to view that other individual unconditionally. I can't emphasize that enough. Love is the answer to everything. Everything. So when we love ourselves, we can love someone else at a higher level, at a deeper level. Because clearly we got with this individual because there were attributes that we perceived. So we have to always remember that those perceptions are why you got with the individual to begin with. And then maybe this, maybe they gargle, or maybe they don't, whatever, take a shower in the morning, maybe they take a shower at night. Whatever little geez, we all know with relationships that there could be a list of things. Well, we have to have that list of things to be positive always. And if we acknowledge something that we don't like, again, well, what do I want? So we have to continue. I just, law of attraction, perception is a wish fulfilled. So perceive what serves. And remember, always just be giving, because isn't that what you want in return? We have to be that change that we want to see. Okay, appreciating the present moment. Perspective is a wish fulfilled implies that fulfillment isn't about getting something in the future. It's about recognizing that we have everything we need in the present. You may wish to feel fulfilled, and the shift in perspective comes from realizing you already are, just as you are. You may wish to be more content, and by changing your perspective, you realize that contentment isn't something to chase. It's something to recognize in the present moment. And that's just like happiness. Happiness isn't found outside of you. Joy isn't something that's found outside of you. Bliss isn't something that's found outside of you. It's within. It's within you. It's decisions. It is correct thinking is where you experience those. If you are experiencing joy because you did something to somebody that was negative, well, what you put out, you're going to get in return. So we have to have authentic joy. And again, it's just a matter of us perceiving things in a manner to where it confirms the desire of joy. All we really have to do is just take time and meditate and exude the feeling of joy. Exude the feeling of happiness. Exude the feeling of bliss. And again, those are conscious decisions, right thinking, right speaking, and right action. We have to be mindful and pay attention to our vibration. Again, I'm going to be talking about vibration all the time, because there's nothing more important. What is your vibrational state right now? Are you experiencing lower vibration? Then we have to shift our thinking. And part of that contribution goes to perception. I would say almost all of it, but it's the perception. Where does that come from? From within you, not from someone else. That's someone else's perspective. I don't care what they're saying. They could say, look, I can't tell you the number of things that I have been called, said, and it has happened to me that could be perceived as lower, But I choose to allow that person, because I love myself unconditionally. I accept them unconditionally, and I allow them to have their perspective. Clearly, they may not be happy with me about something, but that is something that they're working through. I have my own perception, and perception is something I hold very sacred, because there's nothing more important to me than feeling good. When I feel good, I'm in a position to help other people. And when I'm in a position to help other people, then it amplifies. It amplifies a continual sense of feeling good. Embracing different perspectives. Sometimes a wish fulfilled is about seeing things from different points of view. A change in perspective could fulfill your desire for understanding or empathy towards others. Wishing for better relationships could fulfill that wish by shifting your perspective to be more empathetic, trying to understand others rather than judging. Again, if you're judging people, you are casting these judgments on them. So we have to be mindful of what we are perceiving and how we feel. If we only are looking for things that make us feel good, that is what we will find. But if you're judging people, Well, that is what you will find as well. Acceptance of perceived imperfection. This is so important. The wish fulfilled and the desire for acceptance. Changing your perspective to embrace imperfections, either your own or others, might be the fulfillment of a deep internal wish. You may wish for less anxiety and more peace. By changing your perspective to accept imperfections and uncertainties, you fulfill the wish of inner peace. That's beautiful. So, again, guys, love is the answer. Perception is a wish fulfilled. If you are seeing things and perceiving things in a loving, accepting manner, that is what will be fulfilled. So it doesn't matter, again, I use myself as an example. I've been through a lot. And I, especially since I had my spiritual awakening back in late 2011, I have been earnestly trying to change. I went through a couple years of, I'd have, in my case, with vibration, I'd have thoughts that would come into my mind, because look, I had over 40 years of life experience before the epiphany of my awakening. And so I had a lot of different karmic type situations that would pop up into my mind from the past, which isn't real. It's only in the mind. It's not real. It's not before me now. That's all that's real, each breath. But a memory that did not serve, that would pop into my mind, lower my vibration, my face would get red, and I had to create the habit of every time that happened, I would, in that moment, take time to honor the memory. I have to honor and accept it, and then I have to pour love and forgiveness into it. Why? So I break that karmic circle. I do not want a memory to be re-entering my mind that does not serve. By pouring love and forgiveness into that situation, it emancipates that lower vibration from the body and from my mind, the experience. There was an example of a situation that was in my life, where I was young, and we were at, I was very young, I don't know, 7, 8 maybe, I don't know. But me and a buddy went to the movie theater there in town, and when we were there, he went to go up, we were right in the front row, and he went up to get soda, popcorn, whatever. I didn't realize it in the moment until he came back, but when he came back, well, apparently there was some friends he had knew from a previous school. And as he was walking back, and I thought he was coming down to sit down or whatever, he spilt his soda all over me. Now, he acted like it was an accident, but the reality is that he was showing off for his other friends, and obviously that did not make me feel good. I was very upset. So that memory would continue to resurface in my mind, because I would be thinking, why the fuck did he do that? That was fucking so bogus, And so after my awakening, when that came into my mind, I shifted, I honored and totally allowed time to, in my mind, to recall everything. And then I poured love and forgiveness. I changed my perspective from one of fear, damn it, that motherfucker, that's a lower vibration, to one of love. I don't know why that happened, but it happened. And then the individual that did it, I said, I love you. I forgive you. Please forgive me. Thank you. And we will be talking more about those four. That's going to be a whole topic. So we'll get into that at a later time. But that helps release that attachment. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. I'm doing that within me because the forgiveness truly isn't for someone else. It's for ourselves. But by forgiving and changing my perspective on that scenario that's not real, it doesn't exist anymore. It only exists in my mind. I'm the one being affected by it. They're doing whatever there is going on in their life, But by taking the inner approach to this, well, now that never pops up in my mind. It has not since I've poured forgiveness and love into it, with the exception of using it as an example when I communicate with people sometimes, because it's a great analogy, and it's personal to me because that's one example of so many. I went through a couple years. Look, I still do it occasionally. Something will pop into my mind, and if I recognize that my vibration is lowered by that thought, immediately I acknowledge that within me. Why is this making me feel this way? I analyze it, and then ultimately I pour love and forgiveness into it so I can let that go. We don't want to hold on to these attachments of different traumas that holds on, and I'll use the example of Mytrovian man. What was that, Leonardo da Vinci? Where he's got his arms. There's a circle. He's got his arms stretched out. It's like this perfect man, basically, right? And so there's one example, and then the example directly next to it is the same picture of the Mytrovian man. Only there's black scarves all over him, all over. So every time that a thought that lowers my vibration, and I forgive and purify that through love and forgiveness, well, a black scarf comes off. To the left example, this perfect, beautiful being, well, that's what we're supposed to be. The example on the right, well, we have all these black scarves that's weighing us down. It's causing dis-ease in the body. It's causing more challenges than are necessary. But I know this is going to sound profound, but from my perspective, there are lower vibratory beings that feed on that lower vibration. So by pouring love and forgiveness, then we can eradicate that nonsense, that shit that is holding on to us, that trauma. We have to let that go. How does that serve? If it does not serve our highest, then let that shit go. We have to pour love and forgiveness authentically. I can't emphasize that enough. You can't lie to yourself. This is all inner work that we have to do. And I say that I'm not a big fan of the word passion, but I say that with conviction. This is inner work that we have to do. We are in a beautiful transition that humanity is going through, and this year is going to be outstanding. It's going to be incredible. There is so much energy and light that has been opened up for us that we are going to see incredible changes. There's going to be a shift. It's happened and happening now. Our wait is over. Now we have to start embodying frequencies and vibrations that serve our highest good. Nothing is more important. But it's so critical we have to participate with this in a manner of love and light, because then we will get that back quicker if our desires are what we need in our lives. We have to be mindful, because that's going to be accelerated. We could be starting to see, you could be thinking of something, and then the next thing you know, it could be literally within moments that could appear, almost like instant manifestation. So that's rapidly increasing. So we have to be so mindful. But the change is here, guys. I look, we have to be of love, because this new world, this new paradigm that we're stepping into, is profound, and something that has not been experienced in this lifetime by anyone. So we have to be mindful of your inner thoughts. Analyze those thoughts that come into your mind. If it lowers your vibration, bless yourself with the few moments it takes to fully address it and pour love and forgiveness into that scenario authentically, so it can be released, so it no longer feeds on you and amplifies that lower vibration. That is so important. So in conclusion, thank you everyone for joining me. I hope that everyone who hears the sound of my voice is receiving love from this podcast and in their lives. The topic for today was perspective is a wish fulfilled. Is there a right or wrong answer to today's topic? What's right for you may not be right for me, and that's okay. We are all in this together. We are all one. Because I love and accept myself unconditionally, I accept you unconditionally with your unique to you perspective. When we learn to truly love ourselves unconditionally, we will start breaking the chains that bind us. We cannot truly love someone else until we love ourselves. Then, and only then, can we start ascending Maya. Siddha Yoga meditation teaches us when we are established in our own inner love, everything is complete. This is the ultimate fulfillment, the ultimate contentment. Love is the answer. Spiritual progress is not measured by knowledge, it's measured by love. Practice loving thoughts. Practice loving words. Practice loving actions every day, every hour, every thought. This is cultivating union with your highest self. I allow myself to merge with my highest self. I allow my highest self to merge with myself. I allow the ability to channel my highest self in live, real time. I allow oneness. I invite you to drink the nectar of divine love and watch your life transcend. May you hear your spirit guides, receive their guidance, acknowledge their accompaniments, and allow their protection for you and your loved ones. May all your thoughts be loving and welcome the effects of love. As always, I love and appreciate you all, and I'm sending you oceans of compassion.